Welcome to our first Vox Populi podcast here in the town of Miami Lakes. I'm really excited. This is sponsored and brought to you and powered by Miami Lakes Automotive. We got my main man, Fred Senra, here with us. And it's also today's food sponsor, because we have a great production team, is Papa John's. Shout out to my main man, also Mike Lee. And also, I really wanted to thank the young folks from Matter Lakes Academy, the Bears. They're doing a great job producing this show. They're in charge of everything. From A to Z, they're running this thing. They're doing a phenomenal job, and I'm looking forward to working with them. So, Fred, congrats. You're our first person on the podcast. I'm really excited, not only because you're a great friend and a great Miami Laker, but you're somebody right off the bat that powered this, that sponsored this. This would not happen if it wasn't for you. So welcome to the show.
Well, it's good to be here. It's very nice of you to invite me to be the first guest at the program. I'm really very impressed with what I have seen so far. I didn't think it was going to be such an elaborate. I thought it was going to be just a camera and you and I talking, but this is amazing. And looking these youngsters that that are actually conducting this and directing this first podcast is very impressive. Very impressive. I'm proud of you guys.
The future's bright. The future's definitely bright in Miami Lakes, and it's thanks to the foundation that folks like you said. So, Fred, I know you were born in Cuba. Everything was taken away from you, right? You and your family. This is the story of my family. But you came here and you did something phenomenal. Right off the bat, you joined the armed forces, which is, to me, it's the most incredible form of giving back possible in our country. So how has that shaped or influence your work ethic in the car business?
I can tell you that I joined the army when I was 18, almost 19 years old. So it was about 3.5, 4 years after I arrived from Cuba. I always say that the armed forces kind of shape my character. I had come from a not a military family, but I was a Boy Scout when I was in Cuba all my young years, and I always took it very serious. So I like the order. I like the sense of discipline, and so I think that's why the army was a natural. It was a natural for me. So I'm proud that I served our country for that. I was in between active and reserve 6 years in the military. Came out with the rank of a sergeant, instructor in the Signal Corps out of Fort Gordon in Augusta, Georgia, where my first daughter was born.
In Georgia.
Right there, as a matter of fact, we visited Fort Gordon on her 50th birthday. She wanted to see where she was born, and so the whole family, we just made it a family affair, and everybody went, to Fort Gordon.
No, thank you for your service, Fred. I mean, that's something that means a lot to me. I would not be able to do what I'm doing today as mayor if it wasn't for people like you who are willing to put it all on the line, because that's the reality. Once you sign up to serve this great country, I mean, you don't know how that's going to end. We've had many folks injured in war, folks that have given the ultimate sacrifice, which is their life. So thank you very much for your service. And for the folks at home that don't know, and this is something that's really nice in the town of Miami Lakes. I actually got a call yesterday from a reporter. He follows all cities in Miami-Dade County. He said, "Mayor, talk to me about the banner program in Miami Lakes." And I was like, "What? The banner program?" He goes, "Yeah, you guys put up banners for every single person in your community that has served in the military. Either they're still with us, they're active military, they're retired, they've passed away, but you guys do that. That is unbelievable." And that's when your name came up. I said, "Wait a second. I really got to give credit to Fred Senra, because he was the person not only to talk about this years ago, but to step up and say, you know what, I'm going to sponsor that." So when you drive on 154th Street on Miami Lakes Drive and you see the town of Miami Lakes honoring our veterans, the people who've sacrificed it all, who've put their lives on the line for this country, is really thanks to Fred stepping up. and doing that. So thank you, Fred, for that as well. And talk to us a little bit more.
Yeah,
How
my
did you get
pleasure.
inspired and to bring that to the town of Miami
Well,
Lakes?
actually, the idea came from I was visiting the state of California a few years ago, and where the town that we were not staying, but we visited that town, caught my attention when I saw banners on the streets honoring the military, active and whatever. So I said, "Well, what a great idea this is! I've never seen this before, done in any county or any city." So when I came, I took pictures. So when I came back, I remember that I brought it up to our former vice mayor Nelson Rodriguez, and I said, Nelson, what a great idea this would be for us to have this in our town. I know that we have many people that have served and that are probably serving, and that should be honored. So I said, well, I love the idea. And I said, well, not only I'm giving you the idea, but I'm telling you that Miami Lakes Auto Mall will sponsor for as many years as we can, the whole project, which we have. We are now going into our fourth year. So I guess it had to go, before the council, and the council had to approve. And I think the whole process took about 2 years, 2.5 years, but finally came to fruition 3.5 years ago, and this will be our fourth year sponsoring the program. And I think it's just a very small way for us to show our respect and to the people that have served. And we have people in those banners that served in the World War II,
Wow.
in the Korean War, in the Vietnam War. So we have them from all the gamuts of for in the military as well. Not just Army, but Air Force and Marines and Navy and Coast Guard. So it's been a great program. And I think that's, to me, that is the most important sponsorship that we have done here in this town, because it has to do with the sense of family and respect for our military.
No, and I agree. And it's growing every single year, which is so special. And I personally believe that every city in Dade County should be doing that. And I think they're going to start doing that because everybody's paying attention to what's happening here, and it's thanks to your sponsorship. So the folks watching at home, Fred and I aren't wearing a mask, but if you see, there's an acrylic divider between us, so we're being safe, and that's the way to do it. And that's part of our promise here in the podcast, to make sure that everybody's safe, and that's how we're moving forward. But talk to us about Miami Lakes Automall. Every time I turn on the radio, put Power 96, whatever it is, I hear your ads on the radio. But what sets you guys apart? Why go to Miami Lakes Automall? Because I mean I hear it all the time. There's other places that say, hey, come to the one on 49th Street or down south in Kendall or in Broward. I mean, what sets Miami
Well,
Lakes
what sets
Automall?
us apart, I think, is or I know, I don't think I know, is the fact that in one location we have seven different franchises. Where you would have to go to another franchise, and it will be just that franchise. Here, you come in, you park, and you're going to walk through it because it's actually a mall. You can actually walk through it without going to the outside street. And you can find, Chevrolet, which is our banner, brand. And you can find the Mitsubishi brand and the Kia brand, which is very popular on everybody now with the new K5 that they came out with. And then you have all the four Chrysler brands. The Jeep, which is extremely popular, and the Dodge brand and the Chrysler brand and the Ram brand, which are the pickup trucks that are also extremely popular nowadays. So I think that's the edge that we have that some of the other locations don't have, because they only have one franchise. And then also a vast inventory of pre-owned cars, which is also very convenient. All makes and models, because we don't just limit ourselves to sell just what the new franchises that we represent, but also all the other brands when it comes to pre-owned.
So it's a one-stop shop, and give us a little bit of a deep dive into the business. We know not only selling cars, new cars, pre-owned cars, but talk to us about the maintenance portion. What percentage you would say of of your business is just that maintenance portion, which is so important.
Well, we are completely equipped with service departments to be able to service all the brands that we sell, and then some, because we also can service some of the other brands that we don't sell as well. We our service departments are fully equipped with all the latest technical. And right now, I always say that the technicians nowadays, they don't get dirty anymore for the most part, because they wear gloves. They most of it is electronics, so that doesn't dirty your hands like it used to be. I remember when I started in the business 53 years ago, the dirtier they got, the prouder they were, because it showed that they were working. But nowadays is a totally different. But our technicians are fully trained. We comply with all the requirements that the factories request of us, as far as personal training and equipment. Which sometimes dealers may not be too willing to buy because they're extremely expensive, but we do comply with all of it, and we have the latest state of the art equipment in our service departments. Also, we have a tremendous amount of inventory of parts and accessories as well for all the brands that we sell. So it's a we're proud of what we have been able to accomplish since we started here in Miami Lakes 11 years ago. We have built two brand new facilities within the mall. The Chevrolet facility was rebuilt 100%. Not just the showroom, but the service and the parts area. And then we tore down the building that was on the other end of the mall, and built a brand new facility for all the Chrysler brands. And you've been in that building yourself, and you know how beautiful that showroom is, and the rest of it as well.
So my grandmother would always tell me, "El gobierno no produce," right? Government doesn't really produce anything. It's people in the private sector that invest in communities like Miami Lakes that allow us to move forward. So we thank you for that. But talking about Miami Lakes and the town of Miami Lakes, I know you've lived here for a very long time, raised your family here, grandkids are being raised here. But talk to us about how the town, how Miami Lakes, the community, has influenced your career.
Well, I can tell you that I feel proud of being a resident of Miami Lakes, and many times we joke in the family with one of my son-in-laws. My oldest daughter, she lives in Pinecrest, and so we always say, well, uh, Miami Lakes is a country town. I said, well, it's not a country town. The only thing that we could be country is because of the cows that that are in some of the fields. But we do have sidewalks, and we do have lights
Yes,
in every street. Contrary to Pinecrest, it doesn't have that.
it is true.
But we're proud of being Miami Lakers. I don't think that we could be anywhere else. We've been here for 37 years. Built a home, our first home that we had here. We built it right on Lake Cynthia. It was actually the parking lot of the model homes, and I bought that piece of property from the Graham companies, and built the home, to our liking, and my wife designed it and whatever. And then after the kids left home, which you haven't experienced that, but you will, we decided that
They grow fast.
4,000 square feet home was not, suitable for us. It was too big. So we venture ourselves to move to the other side of the lake, and we stayed in the same lake, Lake Cynthia, in a townhome, in a two-story townhome. And we love Miami Lakes. We love the atmosphere of Miami Lakes. We try to stay here and to spend all our money here as much as we can for whatever is available. But we love the safe atmosphere. That's one thing that I always say. And my wife loves to order online, and we have packages being dropped in our front, door all the time. I've yet to lose one package that arrived. So that says a lot for the for the safety of our town. The police department is excellent. All the public officials are great people, always willing to do the best for our town. And so, what else can you ask? From a town. And then when the response that we get from the people that live in this town is amazing. I mean, we have our market share in this town is way up there. We probably have better than 60% market share. That 60% of the cars, pretty much, that are sold in Miami Lakes are sold by us.
Phenomenal.
So
Wow.
and or service, and so it's we're proud of that, and that makes it a complete circle, family, business, friends, because we do have a lot of friends in this town, and then try to have as much fun and be safe as safer as we can be. So.
No, and that's what's very unique about Miami Lakes, that everybody kind of knows each other, right? So it's something I don't think you see that in too many communities in South Florida, where you walk down any block of the city and you're for sure you are going to bump into somebody that remembers you from high school, from here, from there. So it's really amazing. Talking about family, and how families played a role in your life. Talk to us a little bit about who were your biggest influences growing up, right? Who really inspired you, influenced you?
Well, I have to say that if we talk about work ethics, I think my dad was the biggest influencer in my lifetime. My dad was a real hardworking individual. Many times, I think when I was a kid, I questioned. I think I asked my mother one time, does Dad lives here? Because he would leave early in the morning and then he would come late at night. But the guy in Cuba, he owned two businesses. It was a radio announcer, for until almost the day he left the country, and so he was working all the time, but provided us with with a very nice living standard. We were not rich. We were not rich in Cuba, but we were, let's say, well off, and that was all because of him. My mother never worked a day in her life, only at home. Racing us and doing the things in the house and whatever, and so I think that that was a model, and I since day one I always took any job that I had very serious. And I worked with my dad in the record business warehouse. I worked in a carpentry shop, and I'm not a very handy person. Never been a very handy person, but I did that too. I worked at a clothing store. My first job when I arrived in Miami was delivering newspaper for the Miami Herald.
Wow.
So I remember that my route was on Southwest 6th Street because we lived there on 16th Avenue between 6th and 7th Street, Southwest. That's where most of the Cubans lived when they arrived. And I got the route from 12th Avenue to 17th Avenue on 6th Street on both sides of the road, and then the crossing avenues. I remember that when my father bought me a bicycle that he paid $7 for. It was never straight. The frame was kind of crooked, but we managed to make it work. And I remember that that was my first time as an entrepreneur. I remember the route had only 25, 30 subscribers. So I said, well, nobody can live with this many people, and my poor English that I was able to speak at that time, I was able to bring the route from the 25, 30 to 150, and also only because it was knocking on doors.
But how old were you at that point?
I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah, knocking on doors and and ask them if they wanted to be subscribed to the Miami Herald. So I remember that I won a bike, a brand new bike from the Herald, and I also won a watch as well for for the amount of the increase and the route. So that was my first experience. At the same time, I used to sell donuts. I was always a very self-sufficient individual, and I didn't want to ask my dad for money because I knew that money was tight, and we didn't know how things were going to turn out. We were still with the hopes that we would go be in Cuba the next Christmas. That was the thought, for the first few years, and we I had to produce to be able to sustain myself and be able to pay for my lunches in school and what have you. So I sold donuts and I cleaned windows in my block sometimes. And so I would say I would walk into this neighbor and I would say, "You like your windows washed?" And I said, "Yeah, good." And so I washed them for a dollar each, whatever. And I said, "Well, you like your car washed?" So I would wash the car for another $2, $3, and then by the time I got out of the house, I had $8 or $10, which was a lot of money back in 1961. That was big
Wow.
money. So anyway, that's how I learned to the work ethics and take any job. It doesn't matter what job that you have. There's a book called The Fred Factor. I don't know if you've ever read it,
No.
but the Fred Factor is, and it so happens that is my name as well. Is no matter what you do in life, you do it right. Just one simple factor in the book was a taxi cab driver in New York City. The guy was wanted by everybody. Why was he wanted by everybody? Because he was proud to be a taxi driver. Most of the taxis that you walk into, that you go into, they were dirty. They were well. His taxi was impeccable, and then not only that, but he would give the today's newspaper, New York Times or whatever, to the customer, so that he could read or she could read when they were on the ride, and then he would handle a bottle of water. You know, Small investment, but no one was doing it except for that taxi cab driver. So that's the essence of the Fred factor. The Fred factor is whatever you do in life, do it right. It takes the same amount of time. I've always preached that to everybody that worked with me for so many years. It takes the same time to do it right or do it wrong.
No,
Because
I think that's a phenomenal story, Fred. You are the Fred factor, right? You really represent that because people nowadays they'll see you say, you know what, he's incredibly successful. Maybe he got that from somebody. Maybe somebody gave it to him. Maybe no, 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 no. At 15, selling donuts, giving out newspapers, washing cars. I mean,
in
that's
Windows,
unheard of. Tell a 15-year-old today to do that. And I feel you because when I was 17, believe it or not, I don't have hair now, but I was a barber. I would cut hair in my parents' garage to be able to get some money to go out on the weekends, go to Main Street, go to the movie theater. Because I was the same exact way. I didn't want to ask my parents for anything. I said, you know what, it's important. But that work ethic that started at the young age, you see it blossom today, and you see it in your kids and your grandkids. So I think that's phenomenal. I think it should almost be a prerequisite, right? To grow up, hey, you gotta grind. You gotta grind at some point in your life. But yeah, just that story is y como dicen, inventar, right? Always inventing. Hey,
always coming up
hey,
with
I'm gonna
something.
clean your windows, but you know what? I can clean your car too. And no,
even
that's
even at my old age, and I retired 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago. Even though I still go to the office and whatever, but I'm not the boss anymore. Even though some people still call me boss, but I'm not the boss. But I still want to do it. As people say to me, well, why don't you stay home? Why don't you just, I said, no, that's not me. I got to keep working. I got to keep active. So not only there, but I also serve my community and wherever I can be of help. I'm always available and always there.
so. What are the biggest challenges you would say in your career?
Well, the biggest challenges we did have a few. The most that I can remember was I was under a partner at that franchise. but I was the vice president of the company, and I remember it was during the Jimmy Carter years as president, where the prime rate went up to like 20%, which I mentioned that to people nowadays, and I said, "What?
Yeah.
20%? That's unheard of." I said, "Well, it was correct. It was right." And then we also had, the experience of the Mariel boat lift, during those years as well. They were very challenging years for business, and but we pulled through, and also 2008 was another challenging time, and I remember that. At that time, I was already a partner with the same group that I'm still with, and I remember that we felt very proud of ourselves that we didn't lay off one employee.
That's phenomenal.
We tightened our belts. I remember our chairman of the board at that time, which still is, it says, it's time for us to really tighten our belts, and that's how we're going to ride this thing through. And we did. And so that's something that really made me feel proud. And also, as to say, challenging moments. Yeah.
No, you should definitely be proud of that. So part of what we want to do in the podcast is have a two-way conversation, right? So if you got any questions for me, let me know. I'm all ears.
Um, No, I don't really have any questions, and the reason why I don't have any questions is because we talk, and I call you, and you answer, and you call me, and I answer for whatever minute thing there may be or may happen. So I really don't have. I think that right now we have a great council, and you've done a great job as a mayor, and you still have 4 more years to go. So where will that take you? I don't know, but you do have my support as as a citizen, as a resident of Miami Lakes. I think you've done good. One of the things that I've always liked about you is the fact that you're a real family guy, and your family is first.
Absolutely.
Your wife and kids, which I happen to know as well. It's like a model. First family for our town, and no, the only thing I could ask you is what else, what new is coming to our town that I may not know about. Um,
Yeah, believe it or not, there's a lot happening. I think one of the biggest projects that I'm proud of, and it's going to have a great impact, I think, for you, is the 59th Avenue project. So for a long time, Miami Lakes Auto Mall, Costco, all that area was almost landlocked, right? You had to leave on 57th Avenue or
57,
Perimeter
correct.
Road. So now we're actually building that bridge next to Miami Lakes Educational Center. It's moving forward, but I think I'm really, really, really excited about that. I think we have a great team and moving forward, but I think it's going to make a big difference for you and for your business. So we have about 2 minutes left, and I wanted to make sure people connect with you. Where can our listeners connect with you, with Miami Lakes Auto Mall, online? Phone number. Where can they find you?
I can give you, my cell number. My cell number is almost public.
You know,
But you could. I'm there at the store. I'm there every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings until 12, 1 o'clock. So anything that anybody needs regarding automotive needs or counseling regarding of what to do or whatever, I'm always available. And you can call me at the store. You can call me on my cell, which is published in the Chamber of Commerce, manual as well. So I'm always available for everybody.
oh, thank you, Fred. And this concludes pretty much our first interview. We thank you for facilitating this because without you, we wouldn't be able to get this off the ground. And I really, really appreciate that because I think we're going to have some great conversations. And you broke the ice. I mean, just your inspirational story is going to set the bar high for everybody else because I'm sure when we call them and invite them, they're going to listen in and listen to your story and they're really going to be motivated and inspired. Next week, I know we're interviewing Principal Rene Rovi Rosa from Matter Lake. So I know we're going to have a great time. But more than anything, thank you again for joining us. This is our first podcast together. We're going to have many more every single Wednesday. Make sure you tune in on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So thank you, Fred. We really appreciate it. And let me tell you, I'm excited because you set that bar high today, and I really appreciate you powering this podcast.
Well, I'm glad to have been the first guest at this program, and again, I wish you the best, and I hope that you have many of these programs in the years to come.
Take care, and we'll see you next week.